You just saw how to write a basic log statement. Now I want to introduce you to a popular logging library called Timber. Here are a few reasons that you might want to learn about Timber. It helps you generate those tags that we were looking at before based off of the class name so that you don't have to do it manually. If you're actually releasing your app out into the world, it helps you avoid showing logs in the release version of your Android app. And it allows for easy integration with crash reporting libraries. Now you're going to see the first benefit immediately. The others you're going to appreciate as you make and ship bigger apps. To set up Timber, you're going to need to do 4 things. The first is that you're going to need to add the Timber library in Gradle. Then you'll need to make an application class. After that, you'll need to let your Android manifest know about that application class. And finally, you'll initialize Timber in the application class. Okay, so here I am in my build.gradle file, and importantly, it's the app module build.gradle file, not this project one. And you're going to see here at the bottom that there's this list of dependencies. I have copied the Timber dependency, and I'm just pasting it here. And you're going to get the most current version of the Timber dependency from the link below. Okay, so once you have this in there, go ahead and sync now. And that basically makes sure this new library is included in your app. Next, I'm going to make something called an application class. An application class is a base class that contains global application state for your entire app. It's also the main object that the operating system uses to interact with your app. Now there is a default application class that is used by the OS if you don't do anything special. So there's always going to be an application object that's out there created for your app. But sometimes you might want to do some specific setup for a utility that the entire app is going to use. And Timber is a great example of this. Timber needs to use an application class because the whole app will be using this logging library. Also, you want to initialize Timber before anything else is initialized. That includes all activities and fragments. So in cases like this, what you're actually going to do is you're going to make a subclass of application and override the defaults with your own custom implementation. Which brings me to going over here and opening up the pusher application class. Now, there's nothing in here right now, but I've given you a blank application class to copy over, so I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. Notice that pusher application extends application. Okay, so now to make use of this new class, I need to go over to the Android manifest, which is over here, and add it. And I'm going to add it here as part of this application tag. So if you forget to do this, you're not actually going to be using this application subclass. You also won't see any errors. You just also won't see any Timber logs because you're not using your custom class. Okay, but my custom class right now doesn't have anything custom in it. So finally, in onCreate, I'm going to go ahead and actually set up Timber. So I'm going to go ahead and use this one-liner to initialize Timber. Now, as a logging framework, they decided to get a little bit cute with this, and Timber actually uses a lot of tree and lumber-related language, as you can see here. So I've added Timber to Gradle. I have made a new application. I added that application to my Android manifest, and I set up Timber in that application. So now I'm going to get to actually use Timber. I'm going to go over to my main activity, scroll down, and instead of this log statement here, I'm going to do a Timber log statement. And you'll notice the Timber log statement is shorter, and it didn't require this tag that I had to manually set over here. So now I'm going to get rid of this. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and actually run my app. And if I go over here, I can see that it's running. Okay, so let's go ahead and open up Logcat. And I can see that the Timber log looks basically exactly the same, and it automatically added this tag over here. Okay, so real talk. Now that you know about the existence of this application class over here, I want to give you a little bit of a warning. It might be really tempting to just open up this application class and add all sorts of global code here. But in the same way that making world-readable, world-writable, static, globally available variables can be very error-prone, it's pretty easy to abuse this application class. You'll actually very rarely add things here, so when you do so with caution and make sure you're thinking about it first. On a lighter note, Timber has a bunch of other features that you can read more about. And you should also feel free to use either Android's built-in log or Timber for this lesson. But now, if you see any mention of Timber, or warnings about using Timber, or Timber trees out in the world, you'll know what's up.